Yeah, let me go ahead and make Damo sad because he want to talk all this. We had a very much unenthusiastic trade deadline. Not exciting at all, but we got to talk about it. Let's start off with the Lakers failing LeBron, man.
Nah, bro.
That's what we're starting the trade deadline. A team that didn't make a trade.
Yeah. How did y'all feel about the deadline, for real?
So right now we have Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes talking about WrestleMania. Can we talk about that, man? Can we talk about Madden resurgence is definitely a thing on Twitch, and it's why do we gotta talk about this, bro?
I got you.
Did you see what Joe Budden said?
So the Los Angeles Lakers made zero moves. It was actually announced well before the deadline that they would be making zero moves. Them amongst a lot of teams, which the teams that said that, like the Chicago Bulls and the Hawks, I don't know who y'all are to be announcing. We're not moving. I don't know who you think you are to just.
I'm staying on my square.
Hey, whoa, tweet this. We're not moving. Phones off. D&D. How you put a landline on D&D? Take it off the hook.
Plug the Ethernet.
But yeah, I don't know who those teams were. But the Lakers didn't make any moves. What do we feel about that, man? How do you?
Damo, you can go first. I do have a take though.
Yeah. In all actuality, as long as we're active in the buyout market, it didn't make no sense really to make a move. I get it, move some disgruntled players, I guess. But in terms of, I guess, what teams are asking of us compared to everybody else, we just had a higher asking price. If we can go on the buyout market, go look at some of these guys that recently been waived, fill in some holes, I'll be absolutely fine. It's honestly not all that bad. This is obviously the end of the roller coaster. If we can't go into this offseason and make any moves, we're saving our assets for the offseason. Might as well do that, finish off this year on a good foot or a strong foot or do whatever we need to do, and then go into the offseason and make all the moves we need to make.
Yeah, I had this take several times this year. As much turmoil as I want to make, as fake sad as I should be for Clips, and maybe I'm selling the bag. Sorry, boys, if I need to turn up, cut, delete, take to it, I guess. But ultimately, I can only be so frustrated with not making moves on the roster versus making adjustments within the roster itself. Now, obviously, I would like, as Damo's mentioned, to get a guy that can, look, I get we have lineups that can guard point guards, and in the playoffs, for the most part, they actually do work, but we don't have that guard that can guard guards. We don't have that. We don't have a shooter, not a guy that can shoot 39%, as me and Souls has tried to drill in a lot of people's heads. No, I'm talking about a motherfucker. Hey, that boy get the ball. Oh shit. 30 going down. We don't have that on the team. There's a couple of things we don't have. Side note, where the Rock just bitch slapped Cody Rhodes. That's crazy. But we don't have a lot of things on the team. But I've always said when I play the fucking even when I just do something like casually, like play 2K, I look at this roster. I'm like, yo, how the fuck are we losing games, bro? We got 3-and-D wing. We got the LeBron James. We got 2 top 10 players. If you want to argue one top 15, we have 2 top 15 players. Like, this is crazy. I don't know how we're that bad, but I just hope we don't walk out with Killian Hayes. It's like how Chad's mentioning. I don't think Hayes is the solution.
Spencer Dinwiddie's out there too.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the buyout market. A lot of people are optimistic about it. I'm actually not. I don't like a lot of the names, but maybe we find somebody.
Newtown with the 5 gifted. Appreciate you.
Shout out Newtown.
Before we move on from Damo and Sage, I just want to know, out of all the players that were moved today,
another one,
who would y'all have liked to have been seen come to LA?
Me personally, Daniel Gafford. If I would have known he was been able to move, I would have wanted Daniel. I don't want to say Gordon Hayward because I know the action price might have been crazy, but I wouldn't have been mad at a Gordon Hayward. I wouldn't have been mad at Alec Burks personally. I wouldn't have been mad at Alec Burks. And I'm trying to think, was there a guard moved for defensive purposes?
Oh, for defensive purposes.
Oh, Monte Morris. Monte Morris was moved. I would have liked him as well. But a defensive guard, I'm trying to think. I'm not gonna lie. I would have thought
and Spencer Dinwiddie were moved, but they're not.
I wouldn't have wanted Dennis back. It might say they're not defensive. I wouldn't have wanted Dennis back, but I will say I would have wanted the Lakers to throw a 2nd round pick or even 2 2nd round picks for Killian Hayes. Personally, again, defensive guard.
I don't want Hayes because I would just question how would we use him. So like he's a defensive guard, but we don't need a defensive guard that can't really put the ball in the basket. I'd rather just like it's gonna sound crazy. I'd rather have like an off-ball defensive guard at that fucking point. So at least someone that could fit it went in with the Reeves and
Ain't that point
LeBron lineup.
Yeah,
no. Go ahead.
Because Killian Hayes can pass the ball to Anthony Davis. That's another thing. A guy to actually get AD the ball.
If
so
they trap Anthony Davis, and he got.
We seen a lot of Killian Hayes this year, buddy. I ain't going.
Swing it again. Hey, swing it. All right, we put Van. Now you can't have him and Vandal on the court, so you gotta. We're gonna have to trade off. But
you can.
If he's on the court and he's on the court with everyone else who is at least competent at shooting, with how I've seen the Lakers offense, if they do trap AD, all it takes is a kick out extra pass because of how the defense is going to rotate, and then someone else is going to get that shot. You can scheme it specifically for that to happen.
You'd have to play Reeves with him at that point, and that's the thing that scares me because you're mandating Reeves and Killian out there because you don't want Hayes Reddish AD out there. That's not going to solve anything really. Then you can't play Vando with him, so maybe.
Or D'Lo. You can have him out there with D'Lo.
Yeah, I'm about to say maybe you go D'Lo Hayes. I don't know how good.
Well, let me say this.
I don't know. I'd have to see it.
I think the biggest lesson for the Lakers, well, for my takeaway from those three teams, the biggest lesson is the Lakers tax is real. It's alive and it's well. Last year was, people think, the Lakers tax, whatever. But this year, it was just thriving. And then for you mid teams, specifically the Bulls and specifically the Hawks, for you to fold your arms, and maybe you just didn't. We always like to try to put it off as maybe you just didn't like what you got called for, but I just feel like that's the most bullshit in the world. I wanna ask Bezos, what was the trade that stood out for you?
For me, it was the Knicks getting Alec Burks and Bojan from the Pistons.
That was
I really like what the New York Knicks have done this season. Just doubling down on that core with Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, not being pussy essentially, and giving their fan base, their franchise as best quality basketball as they can. Because the Knicks, I don't even think they want a like at this point in time, I don't even think they want a championship contender for real. They just want to be proud to be a New York Knicks fan. Like right now, obviously down the road they would like it, but with how many years over the last 20 years outside from the Melo era they've been considered shitters in the league. Yeah, let's have those Sacramento Kings years. What Sacramento is having right now, but in the East. So, the OG trade, Alec Burks, Bojan. Now, unfortunately, OG is injured. There was an injury report about OG right now, but hopefully come playoff time, everyone's going to be healthy. And New York's about to be rocking. So
I think those moves they made was actually my fault, just real quick. The moves they made actually set them up in a good position for OG to get that surgery, too. Because of the fact that OG needed that surgery, it'll be a 3-week process. You get Alec Burks and Bojan, literally two wings that can step in, step up, and produce in two different ways, but ways that can help your team. And you're still covered because, again, you still have Brunson, you still got Hart, you still got Randall, you still got DiVincenzo, Hart, you still got other guys. So you can actually let your player get healthy, something the opposite of what we've seen the Sixers do. What we were just criticizing the Sixers for doing, playing their guys while they're injured instead of letting them heal. This team is actually use the trade deadline to heal one of their better players going in the future.
Speaking of the 76ers, they would have benefited very well off the Buddy trade if Embiid were healthy, but
that's what I said as well, bro. Like,
not the case. So
don't jump there yet. Don't jump there because Knicks fans.
They deserve their flowers. Yeah,
we need to take some time because those are comments in some of the videos. We haven't touched on them. I don't really care about this award necessarily throughout the years, but this is one. Who was that? Leon Rose, Executive of the Year. Executive of the Year by far. This team that he has put together, I know they're facing like a lot of injuries at this one time, but it will not feel that way. Because one thing we did not mention is that Jalen Brunson is injured. He sprung his ankle a little bit, and they got rid of quickly. So you would kind of need somebody to fill that role. But with this Bogdanovich, Bogdan, the Bogdanovich trade, Bogdanovich can play a little point. He can dribble that ball a little bit. He can play some of that. He can fill some of that gap.
To not do it through drafting too and tanking is hella impressive to me. So
and I wish Quentin Grimes would have been better. My bad, Sage, but everything that they've done is improvements. I know B Soul said they're not looking at a championship, but to be quite honest with you, I'm looking at both rosters healthy because there's a possibility that Mitchell Robinson comes back in the playoffs, from my understanding. They look like the scariest team in the East right now.
They're a fringe championship contender to me, in my opinion. Like they're on that one.
But yeah, they are the scariest team in the East to me right now.
They're literally, for me, like the definition of, and I'm not trying to double down on Becky Hammond. Who is that? Who said it? Whoever. Yeah. I'm not trying to double down on that. But they're literally like, if Jalen Brunson was 6'6", like literally to me, like that's how I'm viewing this team. I'm just proud. I don't even want to turn this into me underrating the Knicks or anything like that, because I do think if there's a dark horse in the East, my God, you probably doing them disservice calling them a dark horse at this point. The team's just well-rounded, especially if they're healthy. On top of that, I must say, Souls hit it right on the head. I'm a major fan of crawling before you walking, before you running. I'm not a fan of tanking. That's where a lot of the podcast members and myself disagree. However, I think this is the opposite end where I think we all agree is positive. Hey, man, look, it has been an embarrassment, not for 5 years, really for 20, to be considered a Knicks fan, even if you're going into relative the decade. You got 37, 17, 30, 30, 29. Y'all have never been good. Y'all had that 1 year where you were good, and then you went right back to winning less than 30 games. I mean, like, it's crazy. So I think the Knicks definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, definitely needed to make moves like this. Let people know, we are dead ass trying to show you that, hey, whether this is a championship roster or not, it's one, not bad to be a Knicks fan, and two, we actually do give a fuck about you guys, and that matters a lot, bro. It really does.
The thing that pisses me off the most, though, about the Knicks, seeing the Knicks' success, and I know that sounds crazy, but the thing that pisses me off the most is that Leon Rose has been here since 2020, so about 3 years, going on 4. Mm-hmm. We're seeing this shift in 3 years, and a lot of teams haven't, or whatever reason, for whatever the situation is, cannot make those types of moves in 3 years to build championships. Small guard. He went and got a small guard. Had a forward, went and got a small guard, and build at least a conference title contending roster around him. And I look at, the team that I used to represent. They've had 5 years of Trae Young, 6 years of Trae Young, and have yet to do anything like this. I don't care what nobody says, because I'm always going to harken back to that conversation. Management is just so far above player to me because of this right here. 3 years. He's been there 3 years, and he's built a championship contender. Got a small guard, went and got him, then draft him, got him, and built a better roster around a small guard than any of these other small guards besides like Steph Curry in the past 20 years or so. I'm just throwing that number out there. That might not be factually correct, but damn, come on, bro. That's crazy, dog.
Historically speaking, oh my bad. I just want to. Historically speaking, the way you build around a small guard is to surround them with defenders. You talk about Allen Iverson. You talk about Isaiah Thomas recently. Even both Isaiah Thomases, to be honest with you. For Atlanta, in hindsight, hey, fuck the defense, let's double down on offense. It's kind of
so crazy.
Yeah, let's just outscore folks.
EPA for the win. All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Donovan.
Think about how long Portland had Dame and the moves they decided to make and what they did. I understand where you're coming from with the Hawks. It's tenfold with the Blazers. If I'm a Blazers fan, I would be pissed. You're telling me in 3 years is all it took, and for us, we went through a whole career of Damian Lillard, and we said that the running mate, instead of getting a big to be the running mate with him, if you're going to build a team with 2 twos, and guys who could potentially be ones any given night. You build with two guys on the opposite end of the spectrums and fill in the gaps at all times for the most part. We're talking about successful teams. The Blazers went 2 guards. How long did we see Dame and CJ sharing the backcourt, sharing the ball together, and they really didn't maximize the other end or maximize the guys around them?
They gave Dame 2 years of a competent defense. So one time, granted, they did lose immediately. The next time, they had a fucking Western Conference Finals, and they just never tried that again. And I was just like, well, and mind you, they lost to the fucking Warriors. Yes, Kevin Durant was hurt, but I ain't gonna lie, Curry's still Curry, so you lift your head up high with that, man. Nah, Portland. Oh my God, fair enough. But this is back to what you were saying about the Hawks because we obviously talk mainstream. I will say, when it comes to the Trae Young, Jalen Brunson thing, I know many of you have Brunson over Trae. That's perfectly fine. I know many of you have Trae over Brunson. That's perfectly fine. I think it's the most neutral take of all time to say they're comparable players. So the fact that they're comparable players and you're seeing a franchise just go about it so drastically different, have such drastically different results, and then you, while arguably for most having the better player, you're sitting there and you're basically praying for Trae Young miracles in the offs, which he's talented enough to provide. But at the end of the day, hey, 4 times he doesn't do it and you're out. Man, that's crazy, bro. It's crazy to see, man.
We can move on to the other winners of the trade. Who are the winners of this trade deadline other than the Knicks?
I'll start this off. Charlotte Hornets. I know it's like the casual, most popular trade, but my God, I think they pulled it off, man. It's a matter of like, okay, a lot of players were here for either just Zibes or just never were going to do anything for us. And I'm not saying they got the greatest haul of all time, but hey, sometimes getting people the fuck out matters. Getting people the hell out of your arena does matter. They also got a couple of future picks, not the highest, not the earliest, not the most. I think one of them was like a lightly protected 2027 or some shit. It's not the most immediate, impactful shit, but at the end of the day, you needed something and you had a franchise that was burning down. The fact that you did something and you made moves that you were aware of, like, yo, we are just bullshitting over here. I like what the Hornets did. I don't think people are going to talk about them enough as winners. They're not like capital W's, but like calm little lowercase W. I think there's some more obvious teams that people will bring up.
Just to recap it real quick, they traded PJ Washington for Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. And they also got off of Gordon Hayward for Trey Mann, very underrated guard, apparently, as they say, and Davis Bertans. So yeah, Damo, who's your winners?
I was gonna say Dallas. Dallas really impressed me today. Getting Daniel Gafford for Rashard Holmes, who I'm a Rashard Holmes fan. Wasn't sure why he wasn't playing. Maybe it's something to it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it was just scheme. But bringing DG down there, real good pickup. Very undervalued big in my opinion. Underrated big in my opinion. And PJ Washington, who can do a lot of the things and is basically the thing that a lot of people wish Grant Williams was when he signed there or would have wanted Grant Williams to be any given night. Not saying Grant Williams is a bad player. I like Grant Williams personally, but it is a significant upgrade to get PJ Washington down there, who's a bigger guy, can definitely score if you need him to, definitely mobile, not a bad defender, and bolstering that front court. In terms of front court talent as of right now, I can't think of a time outside of obviously Porzingis, but then we're talking depth, that Luka has had this much help in the front court. And to add on top of that, he's playing with Kyrie Irving. That is a scary thought. I think this team is very dangerous coming out the West. As long as they're healthy, they're giving niggas fits. Any team, they have a way to match up where they are giving you a fit, in my
Lively and Gafford, pause if needed. Lively and Gafford about to get physical with fucking endless niggas down there. Oh my God.
And I know we had that mid-off that one time on Playback Sage, but finally they can stop playing Cleveland Powell.
Yeah, I'm about to say the Dwight Powell versus Cleveland. You know what? Let's shake hands because they both
that
not
was a crazy
no
debate that y'all had. Y'all did that shit for
so, I was trying to spice it up, but it was a mid-off from the jump. I ain't gonna lie.
It was.
The thing that's said about Dallas is I don't think they're still compared to the Clippers, compared to the Nuggets, they're not as well rounded as those teams. But it's a case of, bro, give Luka some help. Kyrie there too. I wouldn't want to face him. I would definitely want to face him. So
I wish they would have got Spencer Dinwiddie though. I wish they would have gotten, because Kyrie is He's missed a lot of games. I wish they would have gotten another guy creator.
They
Spencer
still
Dinwiddie.
can. They're
Or
interested in Spencer Dinwiddie in terms of
Oh,
biomarker.
they okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So the
I'd be
Lakers
pissed they
and
get him because
yeah,
we need that nigga.
Dinwiddie got bought out.
Oh, yeah,
Then when he got bought out, the Lakers and the Dallas are the two teams that I've heard that were interested in getting him. So I do hope the Lakers get him. But Dallas gets him. That's even scary. You get him back to Dallas. That's a guy that played with Luka and knows how to play with Luka and knows the expect. So that's probably the first thing you will
I ain't
want.
gonna lie, that well-rounded take is out the window. They get him too, because at that point you don't have to worry about injuries at the guard spot. You got endless defensive bigs, or not endless. You have 2 defensive bigs, and for my Dwight Powell fans, I guess you have an even tertiary option. You have stretch bigs at the 4. You have 2 superstars. 1 superstar is easy top 5 from, in my personal opinion. That team is crazy, bro. Crazy.
Bring my baby boy home, man. Bring Crypto the King home.
Not too much for him.
I mean, I had the same winners in those same situations. Of course, Dallas, I would have liked to see him. Of course, New York, would have liked to see it. I thought the Milwaukee situation with Pat Bev was very, very interesting. They are a very, very interesting team right now. They've got something going on. I think the reason that they bring in, and we need to talk about it for real, them bringing in Pat Bev, to me, is more about the locker room and what's going on, as opposed to him being on the team for play or, whatever the case may be. We haven't talked about it, but Doc Rivers 1-4, right?